Hey, welcome to the Runaways podcast. My name is Cody. We are back for another week, and we have a sad boy with us today, Mr. Lucas. She's gone. She's gone forever. You cannot play Verdance anymore.
Hey, stop. You're being unkind.
No.
You don't need to rub salt in the wound, dude. You're like a filthy ninja player. Yeah, Verdance is gone. She's LL'd. She'll never be back. I'll never register Verdance Throne of the Rose for a tournament ever again. It's very sad. Like, normally when heroes that I enjoy LL, I feel like happy that I got to be a part of the journey. But with Verdance, I'm just really sad. I just played her for so many tournaments. Like I played her a lot when she first came out. I played her when CYB was legal. I played a whole bunch of sorts of different janky versions, and then I played her at Nats. Obviously, I got top 8. I was like one of her. Obviously, Caleb ended up winning the tournament, but like that was sort of Verdance's like breakout weekend, so I was a part of that. I played her at Singapore. I cashed that tournament. I played her at Worlds. I got obviously 18th at that tournament. So I'm like I've had a lot of like for funsies and high level experience with Verdance, so it is kind of it's pretty sad. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't like had like a sit down and talk to myself and be depressed moment yet, but I can kind of feel it coming. Like there's some baggage that's gonna wash over me whenever I really realize the extent of what's happened to me.
I'm just celebrating. I'm so happy.
Yeah, I
I'm
know
so
you
happy
are.
you're
You're a
sad.
rat bastard. Yeah. Everybody is.
Verdance
I
is gone and
understand.
I'm happy. Lucas is sad and I'm happy. This is a good week for me. I don't. Last week I got to see KO go away. More people got sad. This has been a great season for me, to be honest.
I did enjoy that.
I'm not losing anything yet. I look at this list of LL heroes and I say, none of this is going to affect me for a very long time. None of these things, I don't feel any sort of way against any of these heroes that exist on the list right now. Mine are already dead. They already took them away from me. So, with that said, the boogeyman is gone. There are no more, well, there isn't that type of wizard in the meta anymore. No more boots on your turn type of wizards. Just kill you in one hit type of wizards. But let's talk a little bit about ProQuest and our weekend. Noah, you had an interesting weekend. You got to play an AGE. Did you also play in a ProQuest, or was that all the whole weekend?
Yeah, so it was cool scheduling where at the exact same store there was a ProQuest Saturday and then an AGE Sunday. So there was like a decent amount of people who drove either from up north or down south and just stayed the weekend, played both tournaments. Mm-hmm. The ProQuest is pretty large for my area. It hit the 6-round threshold, like 38, 39 players, something like that. I played Yarl. And not that Yarl is bad, but I don't know. I lost to both Victor and Pleiades, and I felt like I was the runt of the litter, you know? Like I'm I was just like the weaker of the other Guardians into the Guardian on Guardian violence. I think maybe those games could have been winnable if something swing your way. I've kind of been on this like kick recently about certain things being lucky versus unlucky. And when you play a game that has so many turns, there will always be points where you could say something is lucky, but it just like, law of large numbers ish, where if there's something that's a 5% chance to happen, you play a 20 turn game, you're expected to have that happen at least one time. So I think, I'm probably not going to play him going forward, or at least in the current state of the game. But
I think
on Sunday I had a much better time. What's up?
I think that point makes a lot of sense. When you play so many rounds, it's easy to discount the things that were lucky for you and then like only focus on the lucky part for your opponent or the bad luck for yourselves. Cause I also played like a 15 round, deck as well. And it's like, another all red hand. And it's like, but then I'm not accounting for like the perfect hands that you drew over the course of the game.
And obviously when Cody says rounds in this context, he means turns.
Yeah, turns.
It's okay. We knew what he meant. But
well, I think that sentence in particular, there was some confusion.
Sure. Yeah, I remember one moment exactly that is it's easy to say, oh yeah, I won the game, I forget about it. But it was into a Verdance where my hand is just 4 classic Guardian, like 4 blues, like all I'm gonna do is swing the hammer, but I have a So tomorrow in my arsenal. I cast it, I put back an Oak and Old, and I draw into Terrace Under, and then now all of a sudden, like, I've already gotten through all of his armor, so my Terrace Under just keeps him in the box, and I'm able to win the game. So yeah, there was definitely moments of luck on my side as well as a little bit of unluck on the other side. But yeah, just the nature of playing these super long games. Then yeah, on Sunday was the much more exciting day for me. Bryce called me out on Twitter on Saturday saying, "Hey, it would be cool if Noah could show up and win on something besides KO," which was extremely rude in my opinion to do the day before a tournament when I'm in I'm currently playing a tournament. Just like, oh yeah, any strategy you had, just like, for sure, don't sleep tonight, change your entire deck, come up with something that beats the meta. You have countdown clock starts now. So I was not able to do this. I'm not that powerful. I registered the best hero. I played. I got insanely lucky. You can see some of the games on stream. I think I was on stream once in Swiss, and then both, or all three of the top 8 games are me on stream. And there were many moments where I had. What's up?
No, continue.
Okay. There were many moments where I had cards that have effects of draw a card and discard a random card, and if it's a 6, you get some benefit. These are very common cards to play in KO. However, I had a pummel in my hand. This happened in 5 out of my 8 rounds. I had one of those effects. I had a pummel in my hand, and either I felt that I was behind enough in the game to where I just had to risk it and either not block with the pummel or just not underpitch the pummel, but keep it in my hand and pray for like a 67% chance. Or in one case, it was even a 33% chance. I had 2 pummels in my hand. And sometimes it worked out. One of my losses in Swiss was to Oldham, where it did not work out. But the other times when it worked out, it was great. I drew the second pummel, so I'm like, whatever. If I discard the pummel, I'll just I'm guaranteed to cast one of them. I can't discard both. So yeah, it was just really funny. I don't know if pummel is becoming standard at all in KO decks. I think most people just play like the version with 0 misses, and they just feel very safe. But I really enjoyed living on the edge and having the ability to sometimes win a game I had no business winning, just because my opponent wasn't expecting the pummel and they block in a way where they're going to play their hand in a certain regard. They end up losing a card. Now their hand does nothing, and I just win the game because it's 20 HP format. So yeah, I had a lot of fun playing KO in all my rounds. And
all of them?
Yeah, in all of my rounds.
How'd you do in that
there
tournament?
was nothing bad that happened in the whole tournament. Yeah, I have nothing but good.
I see.
Why would you say that anything bad happened at the end?
Yeah.
Well, I heard that your luck was trounced by the skill of your opponent in one of the games.
Yeah. Are we really going to get into this, man? Am I just going to be
of course.
Of course. Come on, dude. If this judge call happened on like an Armory stream and I heard about it, I would explain what happened on the podcast.
Okay.
Not literally. I'll try to say like any real tournament.
Maybe we'll cut this out after, but whatever. I'll try to say this kindly. So
it's okay. I'll say it unkindly afterwards.
Yeah, you can say it unkindly afterwards. Yeah. When I was playing this game, I'm playing against a Kano that I had already played against in Swiss.
And this is the finals.
This is the finals, yeah. And we're playing. The game is going not horrendous, not great for me. He did a lot of chip damage on turn 1, but I also had some pretty good offensive output. And we basically get to a game state where I draw my hand. It's 4 reds. I look at the camera. I look at my opponent. I'm like, I have lost the game. He throws a spell. I AB1 with a red. I'm at 5. I pitch 2 reds to play a Bare Fangs. I still have the Spell Void 3 gloves up, but I'm at 5. And they have, full 4-card hand. They still have the gloves that can block 3. And they're at 3. They decide to play Cindering Foresight, op 3. Choose to keep a red on top. Kano, throw the red for 5. Look into my eyes. And as we make eye contact, I'm kind of like, people who've played against me know I made that face of like what is happening? Like, I don't understand. And I see the fear in my opponent's eyes. I put the gloves from the equipment zone to the graveyard, and I take 2 of the damage. I go to 3. Then they block with a card in hand plus their gloves because they have no more cards in hand, and say go to 1. But Bare Fangs has been granted the power of KO's hero ability, making mites turn over turn, and it is instead for 9 instead of 8. So my opponent is deceased.
Which has been sufficiently communicated.
Indeed. You can watch the stream. You can see my mites there. It's been popped. There's a mite on the left side of the board from the one I just made. There's a mite over here. And whenever I play attacks, I say the power of the attack, and then I say any triggers. So I'm like, Bear Fangs, we allow it to resolve. He says draw discard. I say yeah. I say 9, make a might, make the might, etc. Then this all proceeds. And at this point, my opponent picks up their controller because it's a video game, and they hit the start button. They go back through their previous saves, and they decide that they want to load a previous save at the start of the turn. So they want to change their opt from Kano. They want to actually just block 9 after casting Cindering Foresight, and then kill me in 2 turns after. So this is now the reality that we entered, and all save data from the first one just got corrupted.
Yeah. So obviously what actually happened is your opponent was like, oh, I didn't realize this was 9, because, he could say whatever he wants. And then the judges decided that because his opponent was such a cool and nice guy, that they should take him back to the beginning of the turn and do whatever he wants.
Yeah. I mean, anyone could watch it. It was on stream. It was a streamed game on AGE.
You can see everything that happens.
You can see everything that happens. The funniest part of this whole thing is this bad on the player, bad on the judges. Neither of these things should have happened. I mean, if maybe in a world where you never represented a might token or something weird like that, you could try and make this argument. But at the beginning of the turn, you pick up the might token, you move it to the other side, which is consistent with how you've played the entire game. You turn the might sideways, then you play the Bear Fangs facing your opponent. You flip the thing off the top. You both notice the thing. You both point at the card that's flipped off the top of the deck. And then he plays the whole turn and then disputes that it was a 8 or a 9. Just to point out.
To clarify, what actually happened is his opponent played a red spell.
Yeah.
And then when he saw the gloves enter the graveyard, he thought, oh, I've lost. And then he was like, wait, but perhaps there is another way.
But it's not like you don't have to use dice. You don't have to actually even communicate the power. If he didn't know the power, he could have asked. Everything is clearly represented on the board. You can literally look at the board and determine how much that power is for without any words ever needing to be said. And for some reason, the judge thinks that this can be rolled back. This is
to before the opt, not even to like before.
Yeah,
nothing.
Like I have seen sometimes this happen, but then you only get the roll back to blocks. Like you don't get the roll back the whole turn. You get the roll back to blocks. I've seen this happen previously or at an event before. But to let him roll back before blocks, before the Kano activation, before the playing of the spell, and then redo the opt on the Cindering Foresight is like one of the worst judge calls I've ever heard in my entire life. I don't understand why judges won't let players just make mistakes. You're allowed to make mistakes. I think your opponent arguing that they should get to redo this turn is pretty snake-like behavior and should not have happened. And I think the judge allowing this is reinforcing some snake-like behavior. It's gross to me. It's just like a gross ending to the tournament. It's all on stream. You can literally watch it. I don't know how you can possibly communicate anything more clearly in a game than that turn. It's just very sad for an ending on both sides. The judges should have just walked over, laughed at the guy, and walked away. Like, I don't understand. Like, nope, you're dead.
Yeah,
you have made a play.
Noah's description of the event was incredibly accurate. It was literally his opponent just like jumped back in time, and he was like, I'm gonna go back to a land where I'm not a buffoon. I'm gonna go back to the land where I'm gonna redo the second grade. I'm gonna try this mathematic one more time. Genius.
Indeed. But a lot of my other games were much more fun and entertaining and had wholesome endings.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can watch all of those. You can see some good KO gameplay and then just turn it off before the very end.
It's even worse because like I made a blocking mistake in one of my games at my ProQuest. I'm playing Ira. I'll talk about it in a second. But I was playing Ira. I'm playing against a hunter man, and he swings his dagger. I go, yes, I'll take the dagger. And then he says, I will swing this for 5. And I say, I will block for 5. And then I realized that I put the wrong blue on the board. I didn't put my attack reaction blue on the board. I put an actual attack, but I have been hit by Spider's Bite. And he goes, that's actually 4. And I go, you are correct. I think I have lost the game, but okay, I will take my 1. You can have 2 cards off the top of my deck. I now have 7 cards left at the top of my deck.
Or even just like, it's also proper etiquette. Like if your opponent wants, if you want, you can just be like, can I take that back?
Yeah, but
and then your opponent says no, or your opponent says yes.
I don't know. I wasn't gonna put him in that position because I made the mistake.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, for people watching who are maybe unfamiliar with policy, if your opponent says no, then
can I be real for a second?
Pen.
Yeah.
1 second. I want to be extremely real. I'm glad you brought this up. Let's be real. When I say this, I mean it's Noah, Lucas, and Cody.
Yeah.
If one of us is playing against someone, I think it's like I would almost never do what you just mentioned, Lucas, of like asking my opponent to pick the card back up because I messed up the block there, unless it's like the card like literally flipped out of my hand and like I just had a mechanical error in the card.
If I caught that it was the wrong card, I would have switched it. It would like I'd have been like, oh no, I meant to block with this. But it was like I block and then I just moved to reactions and I'm just like looking at him and he's like 4, and I was like, oh, I'm so dumb. It's supposed to be this blue in my hand, not this blue. And I was like, okay, you got like
in that spot you just take it.
I just mean like it would feel bad to be abusing of power of like people feel like maybe nervous confronting if like someone that they regard as like a face in the community, not saying just us, but you know, I'm talking about us right now. But yeah, anybody as a face in the community makes a play and then wants to take something back, and I feel like there's just a weird power dynamic that can exist in some matchups. So I I don't know how to conclude this, but wanted to bring this up because it's something that I've definitely seen take place of people just being extremely nervous to request something reasonable, and also people maybe taking advantage of like this power dynamic.
Yeah, I've definitely seen instances of people taking advantage of this to various degrees of success and fame and fortune.
I don't know, because he pointed it out. Like that's kind of always my rule of thumb. If I have to point out something and then they ask for a take back, I will typically not allow it. But if they're just like, hey, I didn't mean to do this, can I do something else, and nothing else has happened, then of course you can take it back. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not that big of a deal. But like if I'm like, oh no, this happens now, they're like, oh, because of that, can I take it back? And I'm like, that's not really how take backs are supposed to work. Like you did not know the thing, now you know a thing. And that was like he reminded me, and I was like, oh, wrong blue. Okay, you get me. And I did not lose that game because they punted back into me. But I at that moment I was like, oh, I have lost the game. I was trying to get his kunai weapon off the board. I was trying to block for 5 exactly, have him kunai 1 over, and so that I don't have to deal with that stupid thing anymore. And because of that, I'm just held at gunpoint for the next like 5 turns by the little kunai on the board. And I'm like, I have punted this game so hard. I lost like 5 additional cards because of that block.
But he was the punter man.
Yes.
In response.
Yes, they were the punter man. A lot of my opponents were the punter man this weekend. I guess I'll talk about my ProQuest and then I will ask Lucas about yours. I decided to bring Ira because I like the pee-pee poo-poo deck, which is what I have named it. It is it is just like the most basic fair deck that you can imagine, but it does all the things and sometimes it feels unfair. And I just go Kadachi. I did not win either of my ProQuests, to no surprise of anyone who knows anything about Ira. I lost the top 4 both times. To be completely honest, I think I should have lost like every single game I played. I felt like I was infinitely behind, and then my opponents just like punted it off to me. Like on various different decks, I felt like I was Michael Hamilton walking around like, oh, everyone's just making mistakes at the end of the game, and I'm winning. It was great. It felt terrible and great at the same time. I was like, ooh, so this is what it's like when your opponent's just like, whoa, oops, fumble. And so I don't know if I'm going to play Ira again. It's hard for me to get away from the deck, to be honest. It's just very consistent and boring.
It's consistent, and like you have a lot of tricks now.
Yeah, maybe I'll play it at Memphis. I might need to get it out of my system. This is like a terrible Pro Tour deck. It's like it feels like London all over again, where I'm just taking like a fair deck that my opponent's going to get a little bit lucky, and then I just immediately lose the game. Kind of like what happened at London. So, but I feel like if I don't play it at Memphis and then get crushed, then I won't have the jarring experience of you must stop playing this deck.
Yeah, I think worst case scenario is like you go to Memphis and you like
top 8,
like top 16.
Oh, top 16. Top 16 would be
no. If it's top 8, then whatever. That's a good outcome. Yeah. You know, You can try and be objective and evaluate the deck later. If it ruins your Pro Tour, at least you got a calling top 8.
Yeah.
The worst case is you get like 20th and you're like, oh,
you're so close.
it wasn't the deck's fault. I made some mistakes.
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm playing this weekend. Maybe I'll just play a Skilio with no reps. That sounds like fun to me. Just
No Skilio.
no Skilio. Sit down and be like, oh, I've never played this matchup before. Let's see what happens. Like
see where the Gauntlet flashes. You just like you draw the Gauntlet flash. You're like, how do I win this matchup? Can you give me the answer?
Skilio feels like one of those like first time deck bonuses where like you don't know all the things that can go wrong, so you're just like, huh, this hand kind of sucks. I'll just discard this card and draw a new one. Go to my turn. I'll just discard this one and get a new one. Hey, look, it worked out. Like, and then like all of like the pro Skilio players like, you would never do that. You know how bad this could have been, and you're just like, I don't know. I don't know any of these things.
I don't know.
Like, I just have some sigils on the board, and I'm just looking for good cards. Like I don't, you know. So I did not qualify for Pro Tour, but I will use one of my PTIs. This is the first time I have, I think, not run a ProQuest. But that's what happens when you take half the season off, I think, and then play dumb decks. So I've heard this myself.
Yeah, I'm also definitely clicking the PTI button myself. However, my track record has been phenomenal. Every time I've spent a PTI, outside of this year's Worlds, actually, every time I've spent a PTI, I've gotten it back. So hopefully I can keep that going.
Yeah. Well, just get it back at Yokohama and it won't matter.
Yeah, or that.
Just get it ahead of time. Prepay it. Okay, Lucas, what did you do this weekend?
So I've been playing Mario for a long time, as you all may know. This week, my friend who I'd been borrowing. So if you did not know, Persuasive Prognosis are like $30. And I don't know, it's a blue 0-for-1 that you like never cast. I ain't paying that shit. So I don't own Persuasive Prognosis, or a Schism. And so my friend who I'd been borrowing those from was like, hey, I'm playing Mario this weekend. And I was like thinking about it. I could like ask around, see if I could get the cards. I'm sure I could get them elsewhere. But I was like, you know what? I think Verdance is going to LL. This same friend of mine played Verdance last week. He owns the whole deck. I'll just borrow his Verdance deck and play that. So that's what I did. I played a little bit of a fun version. I played Rampant Growth. I played some Sigils of Solace. It wasn't anything too crazy, but it was giving me some nostalgia back to the old days with Plume and all that. But I also my local meta is a lot of like Guardians. I expected a lot of Guardians, so Verdance seemed like a pretty good choice. Played a Guardian. I played another Guardian. I played some other stuff. Where I started off 4-0. I played a Puffin, like the Pirate Puffin deck. And then it was a 5-round tournament, so I started off 4-0, and then I just conceded the last round because I was the only undefeated. So went and got food with some of my friends, and then I came back. I looked at the pairings. It said Lucas first seed, Skilio 8th seed, the only Skilio in the room, and I had this information beforehand that there would be very few to know Skilios, so I decided to remove the Amulet of Echoes from my inventory and was subsequently exploded. So honestly, it was kind of sad. Like the tournament was just like, I sat down, I like kind of auto won a few matches, played a couple matches, and then got exploded. So
this is
a little bit sad, but
it's a very long story to say that you lost the best deck in the game.
Yeah, it was literally, it was just like, I don't know, I showed up, I played Verdance, I won the games I was supposed to, I played against Skilio. I also, there was, on the last turn that really mattered, he sent like a Comet Storm at the end, or not a Comet Storm, a Consign to Cosmos Shock at the end of the turn, and he's a little bit newer to the deck, I believe. He's an old friend of mine who just started playing the game again. And so I think he's not perfect with like his sequencing and everything, and I think he miscounted his Volzar and got an extra damage that potentially could have mattered to me winning the game. So not sure if I actually would have lost had that not happened, but it was mostly just I got exploded. on like turn 3 or 4. Nothing super interesting.
Yeah, I also lost to an Skilio in my top 4 match. I also lost to him in Swiss, and then lost to him again. Those are my only 2 losses at the event. And my least favorite thing about playing against Skilio is that you get in a winning game state. You're like, aha, they have no boots. They have nothing on the board. They have a Gone in a Flash in their arsenal, and that is all they have. They have done their combo. I'm ahead in health. Surely I can win this game. And then they just draw like, well, go again, spell. Next turn, go again, spell. Like, surely they will not draw it 3 times in a row. Go again. I am dead. I have nothing I could do. The deck is too strong. It just feels like that deck finds a way to win. It's very good at finding a way to win from losing position.
Yeah, when you activate Volzar, the Lightning Rod, and then use its ability for value, it's broken.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny how we have like Volzar of amping and paying no money, and then you also have Dash winning some amount of tournaments where they have a weapon that just produces damage by playing the game. It's kind of similar, right? Like you play boost cards, you fire Hanabi or Symbiosis Shot is like you're playing lightning cards and using Volzar. Obviously, it's much easier to just boost than play lightning cards with Go Again and have a sigil, but I think the idea is the same of just it's a nice payoff of an aggro deck where you can just have a weapon that produces damage, and usually the damage is like semi-unblockable.
Yep, spells for 10 are pretty hard to block.
Yeah.
That's how you know you're not doing well when the spell hits you for 10. That game is not going too great. Okay. Yeah. So this week for ProQuest, we saw Verdance finally leave. One with 18 wins. Marionette came out of nowhere. Mario's back, 17 wins. Dash.io
it never left.
And Huntsman
it's
at 11.
It's converted better than like every other deck at all the tournaments. It's been the most played deck at every tournament. It just hasn't top 8.
Lucas, it used to be Dan who we could goad and bait with Mario hate. And now that Dan has been gone, taking care of his family, you are here filling the spot.
I've taken up the mantle.
Say the thing. Mario best deck?
Mario is the best deck.
There you go.
I don't know what you're wondering. It's true. You guys hated on Dan too much. He was always right. He was a prophet.
Victor with 8 wins and Skilio with 6 wins. I think all of this kind of makes sense with how the meta's been going. This is the second to last week. We have ProQuest this weekend. We have the calling that we'll all be at this weekend as well. And then we should get a ban list? Question mark?
No, there's no question mark about it. We will get a ban list.
Yeah.
Well, there
are some question marks surrounding the content.
They've released no changes before, man. They can do it again.
This is what I wanted to ask you about today. What are we getting in our fabled ban list? What do you think? What do you think is going to happen? What do you want to happen?
Fabled ban list?
I was going to say, hold on. He was a fabled ban list. I only lost that Pleiades game because he pitched hard on the last turn. Don't get me started with fables.
We know they're not banning fables. They just keep printing more and reprinting them. But Lucas,
they have yet to fail to do so.
Tell me, what do you think should happen with the ban list? What do you want to happen with the ban list? What do you think will happen with the ban list? These are all separate questions.
Yeah, no, I know. So what I would like to happen with the do we want to do like one format at a time?
Yeah,
or one
person? One format at a time.
Okay, we'll start with CC because that's obviously it is the CC ban list, and allegedly there is no Silver Age portion of the ban list. Although depending on how much they like listening to people on Twitter, we will see whether or not that actually happens. But I think the meta is objectively healthy in terms of like the games are relatively, in my opinion, high quality. There's a lot of decisions on both on both sides. It's diverse. There's nothing who is like being played at such a high rate that it makes the game unfun. And honestly, I don't even think the matchups are very polarizing right now. I think most of the bad matchups for most heroes are winnable. Basically, I think the only complaint that you can have about this meta is that it's hard to prepare for. And it is maybe a bit... I don't even think you can really say that it's stale anymore. I think you could make the argument that we haven't really gotten any impactful heroes added to the game in a while, but the meta has changed quite a bit since recent times, right? Guardian's real, Huntsman's real, Acilio, Dio, Mario obviously is like the other strong decks. So my guess is for CC we're gonna see no changes. I would personally like to see. I think I'm also on board with no changes personally.
Boo, boo, Lucas, boo.
I know. I
Boo.
think the reason that I think no changes is the way to go is because I think the meta right now is okay.
Boo.
And I think there are certain ways to tweak the meta that make the meta much less okay. Like if you're like, oh, this Acilio guy seems like he might be a little too strong, and this Dio character has won a bunch of tournaments, let's hit those, then I think you could end up in an undesirable situation from the perspective of Legend Story Studios.
No, easiest ban of my life.
Wait,
First of all,
wait 1 second. We say it on 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Remembrance?
Scab skin.
Yeah, Remembrance. Just ban Remembrance. It's like
That's fair. I agree with this.
Yeah.
Actually, they will never do this, but I would be okay if they made it legendary. I like the idea that you use it as a game plan
okay, I would
hold on. I like the idea that you use it as a game plan to like bring back specific cards to play in the late game. That part of the card I find enjoyable. I'm going to run 3 of these so that my deck is bigger part of the the card I think is just dumb and doesn't fit how the game's supposed to be played.
I think the biggest problem with Remembrance is like you mentioned, the arms race aspect of it. The card is actually just the worst card of all time. Like Remembrance is not a good card. A lot of the times when you draw it in the game, it puts you significantly behind if you're like drawing it in the early game and you have to find a way to pitch it to like do something. So I think it just creates almost always feels bads where you feel pressured to run them because you know your opponent will run them. So you have to, it's like one of the best counters to itself to just have more copies of, like you said, your key cards at the end of the game. So I think that's what makes it such like a card that doesn't need to exist in the game, especially at more than one, because it just makes even more of an imbalance in these games where someone will resolve theirs for much more value than yours, most likely. And you feel pressured to include multiple of them in your deck, especially in decks where the yellow is not ever really going to be doing what you want to do. Sometimes the decks play 2 costs, but in general, it's not like part of your game plan to include a yellow no block in a random assortment of 4 cards that you would draw. So it also just like makes your deck worse, which is not enjoyable. Like no one likes putting in poppers to fight illusionists because it makes your own deck worse. If it's not something that fits with your game plan, it's kind of the same thing with Remembrance.
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said. I want to clarify that I do not advocate for making it legendary because of the logistics, but I agree. I think like we're a digital game and you can patch it. I think making it legendary is reasonable. But yeah, definitely just ban it.
That's why I said I don't think they'd ever do that. But I just wanted to say I'm fine with that aspect of it, of the like, hey, in the late game, I get back these cards in this matchup to help me like beat it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like that's like a creative and good use of the card. The I'm going to run 3 of these and put 9 more cards back in my deck that are 2 for 6s just so that I have, more attacks in the late game. It's not like that interesting. It's not interesting at all. And you both like
resolving like 10 codexes is like not.
Yeah, I think the first cards are much more interesting where you have like the Sotomaros and Evergreens and stuff where it's like you have to do setup to make them good and they're not like they're just like it's part of an identity of a deck. It's kind of similar to CYB in this aspect, right? Of just like you just can shove Remembrance in any deck instead of it being part of like a deck identity.
Yep, I think they should have banned it 3 years ago. They can ban it now. I think it's a great ban. Just ban Remembrance. You can still have your fatigue decks, but now you have to care more about fatiguing. It's not just...
it's also like the only decks playing Remembrance, the reason that people play Remembrance right now is just the fatigue mirrors. Like it's not like it makes fatigue better by banning Remembrance. Like it just makes the fatigue matchups not miserable. Well, less miserable.
Yeah, I agree. I have one other ban that I think they should do. I think they should hit Sigil of Connectivity. I think that should be banned. It's a reasonable but small nerf to Skilio that I think is reasonable. If they didn't do that, I wouldn't be upset, but I don't want them to hit something major. I think they'll have to hit the deck probably before Omen comes out with some other things, and they can wait to do that till later. But right now, I think if you kill connectivity, then you make them have to pay for Volsar at least sometimes.
It's
and
like,
I think that's reasonable.
imagine you had Ring of Roses, but you could play 3 of it, and it was an instant. Like, if you put one down in the early part of the game, the entire game like just plays out so differently because you just never have to pay for your weapon.
I do think it would be a pretty substantial nerf, though.
It would be.
Like, I think the deck, yeah,
Of course.
it would, yeah. I think the deck would be.
Well, cards like Wobble would just be like so much worse.
Well, I'm worried that it might make the deck too bad. Like,
yeah, too bad, man.
Well, that's what I was saying. Is I think at least in part, Skilio is an important piece of them making the meta so healthy right now, because he's able to beat a lot of the like ignorant defensive stuff. But maybe that doesn't matter. There's other answers. So.
I would love if they cleaned up some of the ignorant mech cards, specifically the dash specializations like Tekla Core and Spark of Genius. Like, we're done with Kano and Azalea having their like ignorant power cards because they're not part of the game. But if they keep printing heroes called Dash, we just always have to worry about Spark of Genius and Tekla Core, and like maybe Symbiosis Shot too. I mean, that one's like less bad now that we don't have High Octane, but the Core and the Spark are just outlandish in my opinion.
Maybe before Pro Tour, that's like not the time to do that stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Before Pro Tour, it's not the time, but like, it would be nice if they cleaned it up at some point.
If the list comes out and it says Remembrance banned and that's all, I'd be like, very successful list. One of the best lists of all times. Congratulations on the bans. This is phenomenal work.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they didn't touch.
Well, wouldn't that be funny if like the one time Dan doesn't play in the Pro Tour, the only ban that they have before the tournament is like Remembrance. It's because like they were like, we don't know what Dan's playing, so we're not gonna hit anything. We'll just hit a generic card.
Yeah.
Do you think that Remembrance getting banned would be like a significant nerf to Victor? I feel like Victor's probably one of the decks where remembrancing back the Gold Mana Estates is like a much bigger power spike than other decks remembrancing back just like random cards.
Oh no, you have to actually stack your things.
No, I'm saying that would be good.
Well,
I would say like Victor maybe could use a hit, but if you hit any of the like Test of Strength, or like a Guardian attack, like what's a Guardian attack worth hitting? They're all unplayable. Like, it's basically just like Test of Strength or the Fable. So
because in Victor, the Remembrance is actually like a good card to cast, because the 4th through 6th and then like the 7th through 9th cast homes are actually just like so impactful that it's plenty worth doing. It's not just like a fatigue sloppy thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like it's actually like offensive output.
And if you look at the numbers, Victor's calling numbers win percentage is insane. It's like nearly 60% over the last 3 callings added together, which is pretty nutty. We'll see how it does this weekend, but I think that would be a functional hit. I don't see like you make that change, and I don't think it breaks the meta by any means. I don't think it makes any of the current decks like unplayable. It just makes the game more reasonable.
I don't even think it really changes the meta. I think it just makes Victor meaningfully worse, and then it makes the other like fatigue decks mashups against each other like a little bit more reasonable.
I think
and then it also nerfs Gravy, I think, maybe more substantially than some of the other decks, because Gravy's one of the decks where like you were saying earlier, like that use case of I'm just gonna like put back 3 boats in the end game because that's what I need to beat the fatigue decks.
Yeah. They'll have to have a real strategy, which they can easily do. That's outside of just put boats back. It's just like put boats back is brainless, so that's why people do it.
Yeah,
and I don't blame them for that. It's a completely valid strat for if it exists in the game ground. The brainless fatigue strat is always the best strat.
Yep.
IMO.
Yeah, Fino has taught us this many a time. The less you have to think against the stupid Dirtle decks, the better.
I wish we could go back. It's so funny to me to think about like the evolution of strategies against fatigue. Because like back in the chain days, the strategies against fatigue were incredibly in depth, but they were still repeatable. So that was like the important part, was like, can you repeat this every single time? And like the chain stuff was very complicated, but it was nearly 100% repeatable. Which is like, that's what you want in the strategy. And then like you saw like the Dromai ones. The initial Dromai ones were some of the most complicated fatigue anti-strats I've ever seen in my life in the requirements. And then eventually it was just like, yeah, just cycle everything back and hit him in the mouth as much as possible with your attacks, and that's how you beat fatigue. And it's just gone from like incredibly complicated to like simpler and simpler and simpler. And then it's like, maybe the simple way is not as good as the complicated way, but we'll just do the simple way because it's simple.
Yeah, going from like Riftbind stacks and
Yeah.
like, do you remember? Do you remember? We're gonna shout out Arsenal Pass here. The sting, ball.
Yeah.
The Briar deck that those kinds of things going on.
Yep.
That stuff was sick, and now it's just play this silly looking yellow card, and my deck regenerates like an Earth hero.
And it's also cool to give like only Earth the ability to regenerate their cards. Like that's like it's a unique thing that you can give back to only Earth.
Yeah.
Give us back Crown of Seas. It's fine.
I was gonna say it's like almost like we did that with CYB already. Why not do it with Remembrance?
Fair enough. Now, those are what I want to happen. But what do you actually think will happen, Noah?
I think that they're pretty reluctant to hit stuff that's basically right about to LL. So I'm looking at like Dash, Phi, Prism, Syndra. So I would say probably nothing Draconic, probably nothing out of Mech, probably nothing out of Prism, because like those heroes are just gonna take their natural path to LL. We didn't talk anything about Vincent because it's been not winning tournaments as much recently, but like there was some decent hype about whether you'd ban something like Call. I think any card that's been banned in one format, or restricted in one format, whatever they do with LL nonsense, you should at least like
kind of
consider.
I agree, but it's very much a different context though between Vincent.
I'm explaining like if LSS decided that they should hit a card once, like one could assume that they would do it again.
I think the difference is that like they're fundamentally different cards in the two heroes. Just because like in Chain it's a free card that you don't have to invest in. In Vincent, like like banishes a card from your opponent's hand and like maybe gives you some upside, but like you do have to invest like a full card into it.
I think it's more of a philosophy thing for Vincent. I think it's like Vincent hasn't had its time to shine. So even if Vincent is
there's no way they'll hit a
Vincent. Even if Vincent is too powerful right now, which in like the upper echelons of play you could make that argument, and I wouldn't completely think that you're wrong for making that decision. But I don't think they would touch it anyway because it's like it's now their time to shine, right? Like let's see if someone can pilot it well enough to do the thing.
Yeah, they didn't ban High Octane before Worlds in Japan. And I think this is kind of like a similar thing where like it's nowhere near that power level, but like it's exactly what Cody's saying. Like I just don't see a world where they actually want to hit Vincent.
Okay, so then it would probably just be like
I think Skilio and Mario.
Yeah,
I think Skilio and Mario are like the clear candidates, right?
Yeah, some assassin card or some lightning card.
I can't think of
any.
Yeah, I could.
Go ahead.
I said I'd be suspicious.
I could see if they ban like Leave No Witness. I think this is like a juncture to do that.
Huntsman is just unplayable.
Well, no, I know, but I'm saying I think this could be a juncture for them to decide to do that. I think it's unlikely, but it could be what they decide to go with.
I don't think so.
I agree. I think it'd probably be a little bit heavy-handed, but whatever.
What are even good cards in this game, man? What's a card that should get banned? I don't know.
It's just it's just Remembrance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could just be like, Blast to Oblivion is gone, and like
that card will be banned before the next second.
But yeah, I'm sure it'll probably be gone before Omen. So
there's like a whole category of like they could nerf this because they don't want to ban too many cards when Omen comes out, and they want to like kind of hit a Skilio. Like I can see them hitting like Somersault or Blast or Flash of Brilliance and just being like, we were gonna ban this in Omen, but we decided to move it up a month or two because we wanted to give a Skilio a slight nerf before the Pro Tour. Like I could see something like that.
Yeah.
But I still think no changes is the most likely for CC.
I'm just gonna believe. I'm gonna believe that they're gonna hit the the Remembrance. I
Mhm.
believe. I'm
That'd be
giving
sick.
I'm
I
giving
do love-
LSS
I do
all
love
my
those
energy
games.
right now. Please, I believe.
Yeah, we can cash in all of our good karma.
Giving them all. I'm giving them my power. I'm giving them my prayer. Come on.
It's been sent.
Dude, it's just the simplest band. Just so it's so clean. It's just I just want to see a big letters. Just Remembrance gone. And I'll be like, thank you, Daddy LSS. Appreciate it. Cool.
And then we get to make jokes about people forgetting it.
Okay. Anything else on the bands? Nope.
Do we want to talk about whether we think Silver Age should receive
Yeah.
emergency bans?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this has been a discourse on Twitter, and I'm sure in other spaces as well. I've heard some other podcasts talk about it. KO does kind of just seem to be the thing to do in Sage.
But
Even the decks that
it
counter,
didn't win last week.
yeah, even the decks that counter him are susceptible to, or like not that strong to KO, even if their like kits are lining up pretty well. I personally think the meta is a little bit more diverse than people think, and I think KO is not as much of the meta as people believe it is, but Noah going shadow mode.
Oh, I'm dark. I'm sorry. I was pulling up my KO deck. Sorry, I'm doing because we're very prepared people.
Of course.
I was pulling up my KO deck, comparing it to the Armory deck to see if there was like any cards I played that are potentially bannable.
Somebody online said they should ban the new hat that draws and discards a random card.
One no
the
one has
brute
ever
one.
played.
No, apparently people like play that one over Knucklehead.
Because someone stole their Knucklehead or whatever.
I think people just don't know that when you roll a die to choose a random card from your hand, it's worse than if you could just pick the cards.
I see.
I mean, all of the decks at top have Knucklehead in them from last weekend.
I don't know, man. Somebody talked about banning this card. I don't know,
Let them talk.
Maybe it was a joke. I might just not be able to understand sarcasm.
Yeah. Maybe you're not in the know. But
yeah, I got the
only 4 KOs top 8'd this last event. That's less.
Only 4.
That's less than the week before, which was 5.
That's
so the meta is healing. It's adjusting.
Oh, but yeah, by the time we hit the Pro Tour, it'll only be 35%.
Yeah.
I think Sage probably doesn't need the bans right now, objectively. I think it's like not enough to warrant an emergency ban list, but if they don't mind, like, if you can get past the fact that you are like maybe not lying, but like that you put forth the expectation that people already knew the Sage legality. If you can like get over that hump, I think it would make sense to make some updates to the format, but I don't know if it's enough to warrant an emergency ban.
It would be nice. Right? It would be a nice thing. If they could just do that to give us a little ban.
Yeah.
I don't know what they could hit, but it would be nice.
There's literally nothing. I'm looking at my deck. It's like Mighty Windup Blue and Agile Windup Yellow, which isn't even in every matchup, are basically the only things that aren't in the Armory deck.
Yeah, imagine yellow Agile Windup on the next
Be something.
Okay. Well, I would hope, but they will not. That's my opinion.
Wait, you'll hope that they won't change anything?
No, I hope they will change something, but they will not change something. I don't believe. Cool. Well, I guess we can go off to some podcast questions. But before we get to that, we will be in Memphis this next week playing in a calling. If you are also in Memphis, feel free to come up, say hi, chat with us about things. Tell us how much you like the podcast or hate the podcast, how much you like the World's movie or hated it. Let us know. We'll be there. We're ready to chat. It's just a calling. It's not that serious.
Oh yeah. Also, tune into the weekly stream. Our stream is going to be. It will have already aired last night because we're doing Wednesday this week instead of Thursday. But we archive all the VODs, so feel free to comment on there about all the misplays you noticed and all the ways we can improve, as well as what you found funny. It's made not just for the gameplay, but also for the entertainment value.
Great. Podcast questions are asked by premium members of Metafy. If you'd like to be able to ask questions on the podcast, ask us questions in the Discord, follow along, or just tell us that you like us, feel free to join in the link below. First question here coming from Foxmain is, if it was all the members of the Runaways versus one silverback gorilla with no weapons and fighting in a large empty concrete room, who's coming out on top? The gorilla.
If it's honestly, I think if it's not in a concrete room, we maybe have a chance. So I think the biggest problem that we have is, like, obviously our strategy is something along the lines of, like, sacrifice a few people and then have some other people, like, climb on his back and, like, claw out his eyes or, like, poke at his ears or something, right?
Yeah.
But I think in a concrete room, the fact that we are TKO'd the moment we are thrown against the wall means that we're just cooked.
You're TKO the second the
He
hand
just, like,
hits you.
Exactly. Like, the hand hits you, and then, like, you go against the concrete.
No,
and
no.
Your knight's
There's no go against the concrete. The hand hits you, you're dead. Just the force of the hand.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think a full. Oh, no. Let me clarify. He's not just hitting one of us at a time. That's the thing. If it's one of us at a time, if he's, like, winding up a smack, 100% cooked.
He's grabbing one of us and then beating the rest of us with that other one.
Well, I know. Well, but that's he's grabbing. I agree. I think TLDR the gorilla would win, for sure. We have a strategy. I think it's, like, a bad matchup.
And some of us will die, and that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Yeah, I think it's a winnable matchup, but it's, like, we're definitely behind. You know?
My winning strat is push people in front of me and run away.
See if he just forgets to
trip the people next to me and run away. It's hide under the dead bodies so that they do not see me.
No, that's the whole team strategy. Yeah. We just run away.
Yeah, maybe there can be, if we add an additional element that there's, like, a timer. Like, maybe if we survive for 10 minutes, then, like, we can count it as a win. You know, we don't actually have to take it down. 10 minutes is extremely long, I know, but
yeah. Well, they could get distracted by whoever else they're ripping apart. I mean, you know.
Yeah, that's. I think in reality, 20 of us probably, like, we could come up with some strategy to, in a concise manner, sacrifice, like, half of the guys and then get, like, a slight advantage for a couple seconds, and then maybe we can make something happen there.
Maybe.
Also, why do we have to necessarily be fighting and use weapons?
It says no weapons, guys.
But maybe we could just, like, swindle them with some fruit. You know, we could give them food. We could lull them into a false sense of security. We're completely non-threatening.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we give him, like, a poison apple. He'll be out in minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Well, weekly rock, paper, scissors battle. I gotta roll my die.
Nice.
Okay.
I haven't been keeping track, so I have no strategy at all.
Okay.
So I hope he knows this.
Yep.
All right, on shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I am on paper,
paper,
and rock. Noah,
I'm rocking it up.
He picked rock.
Yes. I gotta explain my strat.
He also picked me for rock. I have one. And Lucas is paper. Lucas,
no! Dude, I lost again.
Roll a die is undefeated. I just want to point that out.
I orchestrated this. Do you see the space? My space is, like, twice the size of yours. But because, like, 3 weeks ago when he did this last, I mentioned how I used this space to try to swindle. I figured he would do something like this. The Fox main is smart. He would try to swindle me.
See, that's my problem. Is I'm going for neither randomness nor a real strategy. I'm two in the middle. Mm-hmm. He's exploiting me.
Mike at Blockout Party asks, can you name the 4 cards with runic in their name?
Runic Reckoning, Runic Reaping,
Reclamation,
Runic Felling Song, Runic Reckoning, Reclamation, Reaping, and Felling Song.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Runic Reaping is that one that's, like, 2 block. That's, like,
it's
cost
one. It's Mauve Skies, but it doesn't give Go Again, and it gives like +1. I think it's like you pop it, your next thing gets +1, and then on hit you get the free chance.
Yep, you're
Yeah,
100% right. Those are the 4.
We're the best.
We
Also,
finally got
Runic
one.
Reclamation. Definitely one. I would say actually, Runic Reclamation and Felling Song are 2 of like my favorite like vanilla-ish attacks that just have some upside. I don't know. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
King of Mice asks, what is your go-to generic blue to fill out a deck's blue base when all of the class blues are bad, and why?
Depends on the metagame. It's normally the answer is whatever the best blue tech card is into the best deck.
Correct.
So sometimes it's Warmongers, sometimes it's like
Echoes?
Ripple Away. Yeah, Amulet of Echoes right now. I think he's talking about main deck stuff for the most part. But I think Overcrowded in some metas.
Hold the line.
Truce in some decks.
Yep. Yeah, Truce is just like a good like whatever. If you draw it on turn 0, it's fine. This Round's on Me is I think quite narrow, but people like to play that one. I think Ripple Away is normally the most.
Ripple Away is my go-to right now. If I have an open slot,
especially because a lot of decks can also use the 2-for-4 mode of Ripple Away to some success, like Assassins and stuff. Like it's not great, but you can convert like that and 2 other blues with your daggers to some real damage.
And I would say the other one is probably some card that can be played either as an instant or reaction, or something that doesn't spend your action point, or has Go Again in general that does some value.
Yeah. That's why like This Round's on Me is one that people often choose.
Yeah, you could choose that one. It's another like high roll on turn 0 type card, or like Nip at the Heels can be played in like Warriors or Ira, that kind of thing. So I think the one that I've always like, it's one of those cards that always exists in my maybe board is Nasty Surprise. I don't know that we want to enter a metagame where that's like a relevant thing that you have to include in your deck to cheese your opponent, but
this one, it's this one. Volda.
There's a lot
Come
of
at me, Volda.
Yeah. This could be one of them. Yeah.
I think also like every deck has Command and Conquer in it, other than Acilio, Dio, Insight.
You can Nasty Surprise out of your arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only if it goes to the graveyard though, not versus the winners.
Yes. Wardo77 asks, I am on the fence about Hunter or Hunted. It is miserable to play against, and I love Assassin. A single card of this power level can take a hero from unplayable to second place at a calling, putting the Graven equipment aside for a moment. Bonds of Agony in Slippy is the same story. Do you think this card will ultimately be banned, or will LSS print a generic interaction with it?
My opinion is that I don't want to just discount your feelings. They are valuable, but I don't feel the same misery. I think the fact that sometimes it will take cards from your hand or arsenal is basically the part that's like the most miserable. While that happens very infrequently, it's sort of similar to something like a Test of Iron Grip in that aspect, where you can try to mitigate it by sequencing your turns where like you attack small to where they're not going to play it on your initial attack for like 1 or 2, or you're attacking with a Command and Conquer if you have cards behind it so they can't use it. I think there is some counterplay into Huntsman where you just try to sequence. Cody, you're so activated right now. I'm going to try to talk fast.
I know.
But yeah, I think there's some counterplay in that you can try to make it such that it doesn't hit your hand and arsenal, because those are the worst situations. But when it just hits cards out of your deck, it's like you should just register a deck for a tournament that doesn't rely on one specific card where if it gets sniped, you lose the game instantly. I think, at least.
Yeah, I think the card is fine. I think the issue is the Graven equipment. Like that's the actual issue. Like getting 2 health over and over and over and over again is what put the deck over the power level. Hunter and Hunted has existed. It just, they didn't have a good enough silver payoff for this to be relevant, even though they already had really good silver payoffs. I think that you can just build your deck in a way where you don't have as many 3-ofs, and then this card is way less of an issue. And so now it is time for people who run 1-ofs and 2-ofs in their list all over the place to benefit, to prosper. You just don't 3-of everything, and you can actually build like if some of your blues don't matter, it makes way more sense to, instead of just I'll just put a 3rd one in, just cut it down to 2 and put a different blue in if like the blues are not super relevant. This is a pretty easy way to get around that. Also, see if you're playing a deck that has any way to manipulate the top of the deck can be relevant as well. Also, when you're actually playing the game, think about like your pitches. Maybe you block with a different card so that you have less of each copy in your deck. So if I've already pitched this blue, maybe I see another one, I will block with it this time. So if one of these is hit again, it doesn't take all of them. These are things you can do during the game to mitigate that card. But the gloves are just ridiculous. Like, like that's the part that if you want to complain about something, complain about the gloves.
Yeah, the fact that the gloves, like the biggest problem with the other equipment, I think, is that their activated abilities require you to play on offense, whereas the Graven gloves, you can block with them, start of your turn, re-equip, pass turn, block with them, start of your turn, re-equip. They're not like forcing you into a play pattern where you have to actually attack and then use the reactive ability. It may sound like not that consequential, but in addition to the extra life, when the extra life matters more than the activated ability on the other ones, like it's just a huge upside to the gloves compared to the old silver spenders.
Yeah, that's a good point because it used to be re-equip, go to your turn, block with it, go to the next turn, use it, go to the next turn, re-equip, go to the next turn, block with it, go to my turn, use it.
Yeah, it was like it was like a whole extra turn cycle before you got to buy them back.
Yep. If you wanted max value out of them.
Yeah, you also have to throw a step like an assassin attack.
And that's a hit.
Like you can't just throw a command and conquer and load up. I think Hunted or Hunter is a card that was created to make Huntsman playable because he didn't have any good ways to make silver. And then they made a payoff that was like maybe a little bit too strong for how easy Hunted or Hunter lets you make silver. So I think the Hunted or Hunter could get banned, but definitely not right now. And I think it would only get banned if they come up with some alternative way to balance Huntsman in a way where like the Graven equipment is more reasonable. Like if they just give him other ways to make silver that are like more interested, more, I don't know, less feels bad. I don't know. I agree with Noah where I really don't think this card is that much of a feels bad. Like
unless it hits your hand. I agree with the whole hit my hand.
I agree.
That is terrible.
It should not do that. It should not do that. But I think the biggest, like the thing that I hear people complaining about were like, oh, they hit like my broken cards out of my deck. I don't know. I kind of like sometimes like, I don't know, maybe this is, we always talk about how we like playing into fatigue decks, but I think it's an interesting puzzle when like I'm playing into a fatigue deck and one of my like core pieces to beating the fatigue deck gets banished off the Hunted or Hunter, like changing my game plan on the fly depending on what they hit is very interesting, I think.
You know, it's less. You know, it's less interesting when they hit your Remembrance off the top of your deck. So now you just like you have lost the game. The game is ended. They're just like, I will hit your Remembrance, and you're like, huh? I have lost the game, but we will continue to play for 40 minutes. Maybe if we ban this card called Remembrance, then it would be more fine of whatever you hit off my deck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if people just started looking at that card as like not like Wild Ride, but like it's like Cast Bones or something like that. Like it's normally just gonna give you like a pretty good effect. This is a horrible analogy. It's not like Cast Bones at all, but you guys can help me come up with a card that's like this.
It's a blue 2-card 6 that sometimes has upside. Like you're
but it's sometimes it is like incredibly impactful, right? It's just like this like kind of reasonable value play that often is like a very, very powerful play.
Yeah, it's
like, also, if you haven't played the Huntsman, you should play the Huntsman. This card's also like significantly more awkward to resolve and like put in your deck than I think people give it credit for.
If you haven't played Hunter Man and you just had it played against you, I can see how it feels terrible. But like half the time you resolve this card, you hit like 2 blues out of their deck, and it's like you're like, I got silver, thank God. Like
you pitch like yellow red.
Yeah,
you like block 4 with like 3 cards, and then you get like 2 silver, and you make your opponent's deck better.
Yeah. Of course you remember all the times it like snipes the best card out of your deck, or it hits a red, and you're like, oh, it removed 9 red attacks from my deck, and you're like, you'll like realize that that just doesn't happen most of the time. Most of the time you just hit a junk card out of their deck, and you're just like hoping to get silver. And sometimes you hit like 1 card out of their deck, and you go, oh my God, I've lost the game. I only made 1 silver. Like, just be happy you can't Remembrance it back.
That's what they should do. They should make Remembrance for reaction
D-reacts,
cards.
yeah.
Let me no, just reaction. Let me put back my T-toxes.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you activate it and hit a detox off the deck off the top. You're like, oh, the game's over. I've won the game.
Well, but that's I think that's what I'm talking about though. Where like you don't actually win the game. Like it's very interesting. I think playing out of those situations as the opponent.
Yeah, assuming
Because like it's never like a crazy value play. It just stops you from making certain other crazy value plays.
Indeed.
Yeah, I mean the main thing about Hunterman is Hunterman can rarely interact with the hand you're currently holding. They can only interact with the future hands that you have.
Yeah.
And so like if the current hand you're holding or sculpting is good, quite often you get to resolve your above rate stuff already. You just have to sacrifice your future to do so. And I think sometimes that push and pull is rather interesting in a game sense. What becomes oppressive is when you can't arsenal anything, and they're hitting a good cycle of removal of your hand and top of your deck. That's when Hunterman feels oppressive. And sometimes that will happen in games when they, have good cycles. But for the most of the time, you get to play the game unmolested.
It's also much excellent word.
Yeah, that's the correct word you could use there. Yep.
Yeah.
It's also like I feel like Huntsman has those games at a significantly lower frequency than like every other deck in the meta.
Yeah.
Like every other deck so much more often is just like you don't get to actually play this game. Like at least when Huntsman does it, it's like, oh, I'm gonna play like Leave No Witness 3 turns in a row. It's like, bro, just draw Single up.
Yeah, I mean, some of the in-game states are pretty gross when they're just like Remembrance,
when they
Remembrance,
resolve, like,
Codex, Remembrance, Codex is
that's
like
a Remembrance problem.
Yeah, but that's a lot of the in-game cycle with that deck is around.
It's a Remembrance problem.
It is a Remembrance problem. I 100% agree with that. But I don't know. I personally enjoy when I'm looking at a hand. I'm like, oh, my hand's gas, and the Hunterman is hitting me, and I'm like, well, this hand is worth sacrificing my future for. And that's like a conscious thing that I feel in the game, and not every game like feels that way. But that feeling I like. I enjoy that part where I'm like, is this hand worth more than whatever's on the top of my deck? And if the answer is yes, then you get to just be like, well, let's go. And then sometimes they just like hit 2 blues off the top of your deck, and you're like, oh, it's so much better now. My deck, thank you. Glenn Couch asks, is it wrong to feel a sense of a narrative dissonance? There we go. I have found it. With some of the heroes when it comes to design. I've been playing the game for close to a year, and I feel I can't understand how to play heroes despite what is displayed on them. For example, Yarl is a guardian with an ability that requires their opponent to not have armor and use ice cards. It seems like building Ice Yarl is not competitive compared to his Earth aspect, despite him having no text referring outside the face he has on it. I get the same feeling with Pleiades and her auras, but what instead do you seem to just want to block? There we go. Yeah. Sometimes how they plan on you playing the deck is wrong and not strong. So you just don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the part of the Yarl text box that says Essence of Earth and Ice.
Yeah.
That's also a very important part of the hero ability. And it's not like Ice is completely unplayable. I think a lot of times the text on the hero is to be like an on-ramp. But then when we talk about playing competitively, people are going to optimize a list. Like, for example, like the Ira Armory deck, right? You can play around Edge of Autumn, or you can like how the Armory deck intends, or you can play around Kodachis in like a different style and just incorporate some of the cards. So I think reading the hero text box, maybe if there's a precon associated with it, starting with that just kind of gets you an idea of cards you can play in the hero if you're starting from scratch. But the identity of a hero competitively is, I think, a story that comes from someone doing well at a tournament with it, not like what's necessarily printed at the card. You remember the Pleiades Fatigue deck because there was like this whole story about that happening in the Calling in Columbus, the 2 Pleiades making top 8. It was like a big narrative, and then that's like how people are going to keep approaching the hero for that example in particular. But then there are other heroes where it's like you read Phi is you're using your hero ability, and I think it's extremely thematic because you're trying to get to play as many Draconic cards as possible, get the chain links, get back your flame, and that's like integral part of every turn cycle, or something like Prism, right, where your hero ability is everything, and it's kind of like very obvious based on reading the hero power that that's like what you're doing every turn cycle. So I think just a case of some specific examples where the community maybe builds the deck different than was originally designed for in like a pre-con or a dev environment sense.
It's also, I think, that some heroes just are designed with weaker hero abilities. Like, there are some heroes where like the bulk of your strengths come, like Yarl is a perfect example. Like, Oldhim, when he existed, was not powerful because of his hero ability. Like, he was just powerful because, not that his hero ability was not very good in a lot of matchups in a lot of spots, but like he was powerful because he was an Earth Ice Guardian, right? Yarl is similarly, he's powerful because he's an Earth Ice Guardian. You get this huge card pool. You get to play very powerful cards. You get to play Stalagmite. You get to play Oakenold. Something like Pleiades as well. Not that she really has any good cards, but like, you know, her identity, she can be balanced outside of just this hero has like a broken hero ability, right? Some heroes can just have better card pools and maybe some more ability to macro game plan, rather than just focusing on, you know, the specific interactions that your deck has with your hero ability.
Go ahead, Cody.
I said, I think it's also good to have some heroes that are designed in a box in which this is not meant to come off as in a bad way, but it sounds like you prefer decks where the top-down design of the hero matches flavorfully all the way through, and like those are the type of heroes you enjoy, and that is good. Like we have a bunch of those in the game, but
Prism 5-IO.
Yeah, but then we have a bunch of people on the opposite side who do not enjoy decks that feel like they were made by the devs for you to just play, like straight out of the box, and they want something like the Pleiades Fatigue deck, which is like, I don't think they intended for this to exist, and here it is. Like,
like the current marionette list.
Yep, that stuff is interesting for those type of players. So I think it's a good thing we have both sides of it. We have like we have all the way top all the way down. This feels like a coherent like vision, and then we have the other side, which is just like player creative. And I think both of those existing is good.
Yep, I agree.
Johnny Pastrami asks, the Runaways have swept the Pro Tour, and Ben & Jerry's has reached out to you, dear podcasters, for a collaboration with the best team and wants to do a custom flavor that embodies you. What would your custom ice cream flavor be, and what would it be named? First of all, the most realistic part of this is that Ben & Jerry's would reach out to us.
Nice. Are they asking for a flavor that embodies each of us? Like we each make our own, or one for the whole team?
I would assume we each make our own. It's more
that's more work.
Mine's gonna be like a chocolate hazelnut mix. That's like what every time we get gelato, I get like 3 scoops, and it's gonna be like a mint, it's gonna be a hazelnut, there's gonna be like a coffee, maybe some chocolate. So it'll be some like, maybe it's like a coffee hazelnut mix.
Yeah, Cody would have some brown mix of various things without very many toppings in them.
No toppings. I don't believe in toppings.
Yeah, you would have like just like a very interesting ice cream flavor.
Yeah,
with various swirls and such.
Yeah, so it would be a swirl. I believe in the swirl. No toppings.
What is it called? It has to have something to do with murdering me.
I don't have a good name for a cup of nuts.
I think I would have like a nuts and oh my god, like nuts and Oreos and stuff. Probably like a chocolatey, like sweet and salty kind of deal for me.
Everyone wants to murder me, I assume.
Yeah,
I have a huge target on me.
What cherry thing do you want?
I would say I already like Cherry Garcia so much, so Ben and Jerry's already is good in my book, but I think it'd be better to have the chocolate. You know how sometimes they put like those like chocolate cups where inside is like a fruity like jam almost kind of thing. I think it'd be better if instead of just the regular chocolate chips, they had those where it was like a jam with even more cherry. So just a slight upgrade to current Cherry Garcia, and yeah, I'm easy to please.
Cherry Noah.
Yeah, cherry. No, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. Easy. Darken asks, on Dice Commando, Cody said something that resonated deeply with me. The comment about LSS needing to do a better job catering to the one calling a year or maybe nationals a year type of player. Do you have any specific suggestions? If you have not seen it yet, I was on Dice Commando, like a, I guess, video podcast. It's not really a podcast, but an episode. There's the correct word that I would like to use. I was on a Dice Commando episode talking about Silver Age. Go check that out if you haven't yet. And what I mentioned was that they do not need to cater to me. LSS has, I will go show up to the
On
tournament.
my vote.
I will go show up to the tournament no matter almost what they do at this point in time. And I don't think they should be catering to me. What they need to do is cater to the middling grinder players who are either going to one calling a year or going to maybe just their nationals a year, and make sure we don't lose those players, because there are a lot of other games vying for their attention and their time, and whatever makes their experience in the game better is probably what they should be doing right now. I don't know what that is because I don't have the numbers, but those are the people that we can't lose. And unfortunately, it kind of looks like with the calling numbers going down, we might be shedding some of those players, and I would want to do anything that we are capable of keeping them those players.
I'm curious, by the way, if there are people listening who you think you would categorize yourself as this population, what makes an event fun for you? Like, are you going to the tournament with the intention of winning? Are you going with the intention of like meeting people and playing against some good players and like testing your strategy, or like what is your goal behind the event? Because I think if we can better answer this question, and like maybe LSS can get a better sense too of like, I don't understand the philosophy of only playing like one tournament if your goal is like, yeah, I just don't understand what your goals are, purely out of a sense of not ever being in this position myself. So I'd be curious to learn.
Same.
And yeah, in my experience, there's like two types of competitive card game players. There's the competitive card game players who play one game and they just play it all the time and they don't do anything else. And then there's competitive card game players who play like a few games and who are often like more EV focused, and they're trying to like do well and win prizes and stuff. And those kinds of players, I think, are a lot of what we are losing. Or it's not necessarily that they play other games more than FAB, but it's just like they're a little bit more flexible, right? Like they're not like 100% bought into just playing one game. And so some of the decisions that they've made recently, I think, are negative for those kinds of players. Maybe some of them would be wanting to buy in more heavily to Flesh or Blood if they felt like that investment would be.
But what would be like at a calling? What would need to happen? Like, I think the pricing is already fine. Like the entry promos, at least the ones for now, are like pretty good. Like what's a material thing?
If I'm thinking of the people who fit this category, I'm thinking that they would be frustrated about like what Cody was talking about a few weeks ago with US Nats being in such close proximity to the set release every single year. Or I think also
I know I have an answer for this.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one, your entry promo needs to typically sell for your entry into the tournament. That is pretty much like a standard across most card games. To wanting the prize wall needs to be better. The prize wall sucks. Like right now, it used to be good. And okay, I don't understand this. So you used to be able to go to an event and you could, if let's say you didn't want to play the calling, or you didn't qualify for the pro tour or whatever it was, and you're just going to play side events, you're going to play all the other stuff, you would be able to leave the weekend with like 5, 6, 7 like cold foil token stuff. And then, and people would like go and they would sell them for like $100, $150, something like that on TCG Player. And then all of a sudden, like we go to the next event and the tokens are 3x in price on the prize wall. And then they're like, now you go and you get like one token for the whole weekend. And you're like, why? Why do you not want people to have things? Like, I don't understand why the tokens are every single time they just keep getting increased in price.
If they're exclusive at the events, they're still going to hold value. You don't need to make them a bajillion tokens.
Because I remember when they came out, people were like, oh, I got like 4 of them. I was like, oh, that's sweet. They made like $500 that weekend, like selling them. I'm like, let people do that. Like people will go to more events if they can do this, and it doesn't cost them any. Like it doesn't cost you any money to print more of these tokens to have. Like it's literally free money. It's fake money. You're just spending prize tickets on it, and then you go back the next time, and the tokens are 3x prize tickets they were before. Why? What? Let people have nice things. I don't get it. Do more merch. Just do more exclusive things that you can only get at that event. Like people care about this stuff. And
I would say, yeah. I think individual callings, it's good that we have more of them now, but they've definitely felt less special. The coverage in the streams have been fabulous, but like the hype at the event, I think, surrounding like what makes the calling in Memphis special compared to the calling in Montreal or San Diego, whatever, like what is like the special thing that's going to happen that's going to motivate someone to be like, okay, this is the tournament I'm going to go to this week. You know, my 6 months, I can go to one tournament. Like this is going to be the one because of XYZ reason.
Yep. I mean, at Pro Tours, you could pick up like Pro Tour specific swag and worlds and stuff. And that all makes sense. Those are exclusive events that you want to have like additional stuff at, but you should also do them at callings. It's like, let people get stuff. You want to walk away with things. I don't know. I can't understand why the prize wallet keeps getting more expensive for tickets. It just seems silly to me.
I think you could also make the showdowns better. I think showdowns are a meaningful improvement over battle hardens, but I think that that second chance opportunity tournament is also pretty important when people are factoring in the EV. I think part of the reason why showdowns might not be as widely loved might be because people don't love Silver Age right now. So we'll see how people's views on that format changes as time goes on. But I think historically, as somebody who used to travel to a lot of local events and has not anymore, or has not as much recently, when there are two tournaments that both feel like the EV is reasonable, it's a lot easier for people to justify going to those tournaments, especially if they're in that like semi-competitive space where like they want to be competitive, but they don't want to like feel like they've wasted their whole weekend if they just like lose, 2 out of the 3 first rounds of the calling.
Also, let's do a better job of where you're scheduling these callings at. Why do they have to be the most expensive city at expensive times? Like I'm guessing probably because they're getting maybe a deal on scheduling at those locations, but like you make it incredibly difficult to travel to. There are lots of cities in the US that have cheaper airfare to travel to, like Texas being one of them. Vegas being another one, even though you might not want to go to Vegas or whatever. But like we go to Vegas all the time, I'm aware. But like maybe not San Diego on Valentine's Day weekend. It's just like I don't understand. Like some of these Montreal, like I understand we need to do some things there, but Montreal is a pretty expensive place to get to for a lot of people in the area. So maybe things like that make more sense.
Yeah, world premiere DFW.
Yeah.
Inception mode.
So I don't know who's doing the all the scheduling, but some of that stuff needs to be taken into account. But I would like to hear from people who are not us. What do you need to go to callings? Because 500 of you guys used to show up, and now we don't. So why? But why though? Cool. With that said, we'll see you in Memphis. Hopefully we get 500 people for this event. See ya.